Ohio for responsible gambling.
Here are your hosts, Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas.
Welcome to On the Money. I am Dave Biddle. I'm joined by Scotty Vegas, Ryan Baker at the controls. Scotty Vegas, how you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm good, and I love that you got here on time from Ohio State because you doing the wonderful work that you do with Bucknuts. You were out at Ohio State, and you were taking part in the interviews and all that good stuff. So I can't wait to get the inside report from you. Let's get that right now. What was the headline for today from you guys and on campus?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Day was very coy about the Lathan Ransom situation yesterday when asked about it, although his answer was ominous. Like when he was asked, can you discuss the Lathan Ransom injury? Is there anything to that rumor? He said, we're not going to talk anything more about injury. So it's like, okay, so he is injured. You just don't want to talk about it. Tonight, he was more forthcoming. He said, yeah, he is injured. It's not long-term. He's day-to-day. They'll see how practice goes tomorrow with Lathan Ransom. And then I think the next question, Scotty, is who's up next? And they have a lot of guys in the mix. I'm hearing it could be Lorenzo Styles Jr., and that might free up Caleb Downs to be more of what he needs to be, which is an absolute wrecker on that defense. Right now, they need to unleash Caleb Downs. They said they activated him for the Michigan State game. They need to do that tenfold. This kid had 107 tackles as a true freshman at Alabama. But they do have good options. They got Jalen McClain, the true freshman. They also could put Jordan Hancock back there, put Jermaine Matthews in there at slot. They've got some, and they'll do a little bit of everything. But I think Lorenzo Styles Jr. might be a guy to keep in mind there. Obviously, Malik Hartford. But they've got some options there. It's good to know, though, Scotty, because we knew he was hurt, by the way. Ryan Day answered the question yesterday. At least it's not long-term with Lathan, because the way I look at that is, he's probably not going to be back for Penn State if I had to guess. And that's not good.
No.
You get through the Penn State game, in my opinion, you're going to be in the Big Ten championship game. Get Lathan healthy for the postseason.
So the other big headline over the last probably about 10 days now is about this defense, right? And all the talk about, and Nick Saban came out and was talking about this defense. And apparently Ryan Day has had some hard conversations with the defensive coaches, spent a lot of time with the defensive coaches over the last 10 days. Your impression of what Ryan Day had to say about kind of the failures of this defense when we came into this season thinking this defense was going to be spectacular. And obviously in their first major test, they failed it.
Scotty, I like that he owned it and didn't make excuses. It wasn't like, well, Oregon's a really good offense. It'd be easy to say, oh, well, Oregon's a really good offense, 1 point on the road, this and that, raucous environment. There was none of that. It was like, this is unacceptable. And then he was asked, if you would have asked me ahead of time, what will Ryan Day say if somebody asked him about Nick Saban saying his pass rush is antiquated? Ohio State's pass rush is antiquated. I'd say even if Ryan Day agrees with that, he'll probably say something like, no, it's not antiquated. We've got to be better, but, it was one game. I love that he was like, I do agree with that because it's not working. Coach Saban's right, basically, is what he said.
Yeah.
And by the way, Nick Saban knows a little bit about what he's talking about, being the best college football coach ever. And I don't think he was saying that to troll Ohio State. He was just being real, and Ryan Day agreed with him. And I found that very refreshing.
Now, one thing I did want to mention to you, because, watching a lot of these big college football games kind of over the last couple years, you kind of notice that a lot of times, a lot of these big-time elite matchups end up being scoring fests. Like you watch Georgia-Alabama earlier this year, and generally you think, okay, these are going to be two good defenses. This is going to be a relatively lower-scoring game, and then it ends up being a shootout, and in the fourth quarter, it's like nobody could stop anybody, right? And then so we've kind of seen, I feel like, over the last few years, and Nick Saban talked about this, that the game of football is now geared more, and there are more advantages for offenses than defenses, and even more so than in recent history. So defenses are struggling more in these big games. But that fact is, the Ohio State defensive line didn't get any pressure against Oregon the entire night, and that was disappointing. And there's all kinds of talk about the relationship between Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson. And I want to know, and I want to get kind of your opinion. How have you seen that over this season?
First of all, I completely am in the camp that there is a disconnect between Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson. It's just too obvious. You don't have to be a football expert to watch some of these plays and see They rushed 2 defensive linemen. This play happened in the Oregon game. It's one of the plays that Denzel Burke got beat deep. One of the 2 plays he got beat really deep. So they rushed just 2 defensive linemen. They drop 2 defensive linemen. They have 9 guys in coverage, and they're running man press on the outside. There's no way the front 4 and the back 7 are on the same page there. No way in football history would that happen. So it is a disconnect. And that being said, Scotty, and I give credit to, I believe it was Bill Landis who asked this question directly to him, is there a disconnect between Larry Johnson and Jim Knowles? And as a media guy, I want the coach to answer things honestly. I give Ryan Day a pass on this, assuming that, he was trying to keep this in-house. Because are you really, what's productive about airing your dirty laundry if it is true? To come out there and say, yeah, there is a disconnect between Jim Knowles and Larry Johnson in year 3. It'd be one thing if it was the first year. This is the 3rd year they've been together. There can't be a disconnect, but I think there is. I'm sure there is. And it feels like Ryan Day's finally said, okay, we can argue, we can have disagreements when we're in the room together talking. When we leave the room, we have to be on the same page as what he said. That, I think, was completely honest. I do think there's a disconnect between LJ and Knowles, but I think Ryan Day has now laid down the law and said, we've all got to be on the same page. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. We'll find out against Penn State. I mean, their offensive coordinator has made a big difference. Again, I think Penn State's a little overrated, but again, I think they hired a heck of a good offensive coordinator from Kansas.
So let's update your betting odds. Ohio State now has the 2nd best odds to win the national championship. Georgia is the favorite after that win over Texas. Georgia is plus 360 to win it all. Of course, we do our betting at Hollywood Casino Columbus and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Ohio State 4-1. Oregon 5-1, Texas 5-1. How about how bunched those 4 teams are? The fact that you have Georgia plus 360, Ohio State 4-1, Oregon and Texas 5-1, and then you have a little bit of a drop off. You've got Penn State 13-1, and then Clemson 15, and Tennessee 16-1, and then your Big Ten championship odds. Oregon's the favorite, but just barely, plus 130 to win the Big Ten conference. Ohio State plus 150, and Penn State plus 375.
I just love, if you're an Ohio State fan out there and you're not even into sports gambling, although if you're listening to the show, hopefully you're into both. Like that should, and you're a little downtrodden about the Buckeyes, like Ohio State has the 2nd best odds to win the national championship. Okay, who's number 1 right now? Not in the betting odds, but in the polls. Oregon. Ohio State went there, lost by 1 point on the road, at night, raucous environment, all the excuses that I mentioned that Ohio State's not using. My point is, Scotty, there's not a juggernaut in college football this year. I still like where Ohio State is at.
You and I, we talk about this all the time. There might be polls out there. The rankings that make the most sense to us are the betting odds. So to me, in our world, Georgia's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Oregon is number 3.
And I want to hear from the people out there.
Yes.
I want to hear from you guys listening to the show right now. Give us a call, 614-821-9710. Again, that's 614-821-9710. Ohio State college football. Anything at all, give us a call on the money.
More of Hollywood Casinos on the money. On the money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
Coming up on ONN.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. When it comes to hard work, whether on the field or the farm, I need something that's as tough and reliable as I am. That's why I trust Kubota diesel tractors from Green & Sons. Kubota's diesel tractor motors are high-powered, reliable, and don't stop running, just how I like to play. So when you're serious about getting the job done, you need the Kubota equipment you can trust from Green & Sons. Check them out at greenandsons.com or stop by one of their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville.
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
My furnace just went out.
Ma'am, have no fear. Dormar is here. We can get that furnace fixed fast.
Dormar, you guys are the best.
Dormar, you're kind of hero.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something.
Does it solve a problem?
It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your furnace is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get Eco.com.
Reichert Chevy's dealing in Dublin.
$2,500 low price guarantee.
With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Shop hundreds of vehicles at ReichertChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
At Reichert,
we're dealing.
The Fan. Ohio sports destination. Now back to Hollywood Casinos on the money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
From ONN.
Welcome back to On the Money, the show that tries to make you the better sports gambler. And right now, I'm a very angry sports gambler because I have some money on this Liberty team, who, by the way, Liberty is 5-0 on the year.
There you go.
And they are losing to Kennesaw State, who is 0-6. So get your head out of your tuckus, Liberty, and let's get going, because down seven late in the second quarter is ridiculous.
Malik Willis is not walking through that door. You're gonna be okay.
I hope so.
You'll be
I hope
okay.
so. All right, we want to hear from you here on the Money, 614-821-9710. We're opening up the phone lines. We're talking about Ohio State football. We also, not only can you call the station, 614-821-9710, but we are taking your tweets at Dave Biddle, at ScottyVegas971, or hit us up on YouTube. And we're going to start with a question on Twitter. This is from Jenna14. And she's asking, guys, is the college football 12-team playoff this year making the regular season more exciting? Because it is for me. And that's a great question, because there's been people that have been all about the expansion to 12 teams. I know, Ryan, you initially hated it. You've kind of come back a little bit on it.
No, I have not.
No, I was
okay, you still hate it.
I still don't like it.
I missed that portion of the program if Ryan backtracked at all.
I think it was you, Dave, who was a little fishy on it at first, and then you've kind of come around to it.
You quickly talked me into it. You're like, Dave, more football.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you got me.
More football. And here's the deal. So good question, Jenna, because in my opinion, it has made a lot more games relevant. And that's what the deal is. And so now I see myself watching more like of these other random games, like watching Boise State more than I normally would, watching some of these, like kind of keeping track of some of these SEC games more than I normally would, including teams like LSU and teams like Texas A&M. Like this, that becomes an interesting game this weekend, LSU, Texas A&M. Whereas in the 4-team playoff, Dave, it'd be like it doesn't matter because neither one of these teams going to make it. But with 12, there's a chance that one of them will make it if they win. So it makes more games interesting to me in the regular season.
And Scotty, I fear the opposite would happen, because one of the things I love about college football is the regular season matters more than any other American sport by far. But it still does. It still does because of seeding, because of things that you've talked about, just making the playoff. Like right now, things like Indiana has better odds of making the playoff than Alabama.
Yeah.
That is a real thing that is happening right now. That's not me like saying this could happen. Indiana has better odds, and not by a small margin, of making the playoff than Alabama. It's crazy.
Scotty, real quick, I want to just question something you just said.
Yep.
You don't think that in a 4-team playoff, the winner of this LSU-Texas A&M game had a chance to make the playoff?
Well, both teams have a loss already.
Correct.
And so LSU's loss, by the way, was week 1 to a bad USC team.
I got you.
So I think it would be very difficult, very, very difficult to see one of them unless they go run the table, win the SEC. That'd be their only way in.
I mean, you're right, but the winner of this game is not in a 4-team playoff. The winner of this game is not eliminated. They could easily go on and win. Not easily because it's a tough schedule, but Texas A&M's schedule isn't that tough the rest of the way.
You know what I also find myself watching is more games like Iowa State, right, out of the Big 12, and Kansas State, and teams that you think have a good chance of making the college football playoff, where normally it'd be like, okay, Iowa State is irrelevant. No matter what, if they go on and win the Big 12, they're not going to be in the top 4. But now I'm seeing more of that. And there's a chance out there, of course, that if Ohio State were to win the rest of their games, lose in the Big Ten championship game again to Oregon, that they would be a 5 seed and they would play a 4 seed. So potentially you could even play an Iowa State or whoever wins the Big 12 in a 5-4 matchup.
We want to hear from you guys. 614-821-9710. 614-821-9710. You can hit us up on X. I'm at Dave Biddle. He's at ScottyVegas971. But again, give us a call, 614-821-9710. This is On the Money.
This is Hollywood Casinos On the Money. On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
From ONN.
Have you lost Ohio Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
30% of D1 athletes report betting-related threats and harassment after games. This threatens the safety and mental health of students like Jade.
I'm a college athlete, and I'm more than a bet. When you threaten my life and my family because you lost money, it really scares me.
These threats are not acceptable. Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
If a friend asks how you're doing, and you say,
I'm okay,
when the truth is,
I don't want my problems to burden anyone.
Or you say,
hang it in there.
Because
if I ask for help, they'll just think I'm weak.
Then this is your sign to call, text, or chat 988 for free, confidential support. Anytime. You don't have to hide how you feel.
Voting. It's more than just a right, it's a responsibility. November 5th is Ohio's general election, and we encourage you to make your voice heard. Ohio offers 3 convenient ways to vote: voting on Election Day, early in person, and absentee voting. No matter the method you choose, you can be confident that your vote is secure and your voice will be heard. Go to voteohio.gov to learn more. Sponsored by Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose.
Hey folks, it's game day and the betting's gonna be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right, you gotta pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton.
ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination. You listening to Hollywood Casinos On the Money. On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
On ONN.
Welcome back to On the Money. Buckeyes facing a angry Nebraska team after getting embarrassed last week, although Nebraska's facing an angry Ohio State team who's coming off a bye, no less, and the game's in Columbus. Buckeyes favored by 25.5. Is that correct? ESPN bet?
It is. It is officially 25.5 right now. The over-under on the game, 48.5. Ohio State minus 6,000 on the money line. Nebraska 18-1 to pull it off. And Dave, before Nebraska played Indiana, there was a line out on Ohio State, Nebraska, and that line was actually 19.5. So Nebraska, who just got walloped in Bloomington, that line moved an entire 6 points. Ohio State obviously was on a bye. We didn't play. So the whole thing was how bad Nebraska looked last week is what moved that line 6 points. That's a significant move. And the interesting thing about Nebraska to me is they're coming in here and it looked like all this talk of, okay, Matt Rule's got this team together a little bit. They're playing a little bit better. But Matt Rule has actually a really terrible record against ranked teams, and and this goes all the way back to his days at Baylor as well. But I kind of think this is going to be a very, very angry Ohio State football team. And so looking at that line, which of course is 25.5, I kind of lean giving the points. Like if I'm Ohio State, I'm betting Ohio State wins this game by 4 touchdowns or more. That's the way I'm looking at this. I would be surprised if this is anything less than honestly a 4-touchdown win.
It's interesting. Ohio State's going to be breaking in a new left tackle. Now, I think Zen Michalski played pretty well against Oregon. Josh Simmons went down with a knee injury. He's lost for the season. You know, Josh Simmons, fourth-year junior, classmate Zen Michalski now steps in. Zen at least looks like straight out of Central Casting for a left tackle, right? About 6'6". Listed at 6'6", so he's probably closer to 6'7", about 320 pounds, long arms, but has not played much in his 3.5 years at Ohio State. Now he's a starting left tackle. Now we have, the good news is, you want to look at this glass half full, we've seen this before at Ohio State. A great example is Darryl Baldwin, who didn't do anything his first 4 years. And then as a fifth-year senior, it's like Darryl Baldwin's taking over as a starting right tackle. Like, really? Yeah, and then he played really well as a fifth-year senior and was part of that national championship team in 2014. So how is Zen Michalski going to do after losing? Now, I would submit that losing Seth McLaughlin would have been a worse injury. If I had to pick an offensive lineman that was like, could not lose, I would say Seth McLaughlin. Number 2 would have been Simmons, though. So this is a tough loss. We'll see if Michalski can hold up.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. You and I have talked about this multiple times. You got to get a little bit lucky on the injury front, to win a national championship and go through. And that's a tough blow. By the way, the record for Matt Rule in playing against ranked teams as a head coach, he's 2-22. So that's his record. Of course, that goes back to Baylor. That's with Nebraska. Yeah. 2-22. That's how bad he's been in ranked games. But you're right. If you were to say, okay, I was thinking about this on the way over here today, Dave, and and you hate to do this because obviously Simmons is gone. But if you were to rank for me the most important players on this team, 1 through 4. That you could not lose to an injury, kind of like how you lost Simmons. And you hate to even think this way, but the guys who you could not replace, most important guys, 1 through 4, what would that be? What would your power ranking list be?
Will Howard would be on my list just because of how important quarterback is, and I don't trust Devin Brown. So he would definitely be in my top 4. I would, even though they've got depth at wide receiver, I'd probably put Jeremiah Smith in there.
Would Simmons have been in your top 5?
He would have been, yeah. And McLaughlin certainly would be right now in my top 4.
Yeah,
I'm just picking offensive guys. Like Tyleek Williams would be in there. See, now I'm picking more than 4. Caleb Downs. So I would have said Denzel Burt coming into the year. Now it's like, was Jermaine Matthews better than him? See, that's the thing, man. Like, I'm guilty as charged. Like, I was like saying foolish things like, this secondary might have the chance of being as good as what I consider the gold standard of Ohio State secondaries, 1996, with Sean Springs, Antoine Winfield, Ty Howard, Damon Moore, Rob Kelly. I apologize to all 5 of those men. This secondary is nowhere near on that level. Can it get there? I don't know. Maybe, but right now it's nowhere near on that level.
What about Jack Sawyer? I mean, what about Tuimoloau? Like,
definitely not Tuimoloau.
Where were they against Oregon?
Right. So how would, if you were to answer that question, Ryan, irreplaceable guys on this Buckeye team, would Simmons have been in your top 5?
I think Josh Simmons would have been there. I know this might sound crazy. I think I would have Emeka over Jeremiah just because everything Emeka means to this team, I think. Now, Jeremiah is obvious. Well, I don't know about obviously, but Jeremiah physically is just a freak. But Emeka's been really good this year, too. So I think just because of the leadership factor and everything, I think I would have Emeka over Jeremiah, but that'd be pretty close. I think I could be wrong with this. I think Sonny Styles is a guy, too, because I think Arvell Reese might jump in there in that spot, but I definitely don't think C.J. Hicks is ready for it. So Sonny Styles might be a guy that I would have on there, too.
Yeah. I think Simmons was definitely top 5 for me. That was a devastating loss. That really was. That was one that hurts a lot. And obviously Will Howard's got to be in the top 5. He's your quarterback with all the experience. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, guys that you cannot replace. All right, when we come back, we're going to do a little bit of this or a little bit of that. It is On the Money.
More of Hollywood Casinos On the Money. On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
Coming up on ONN.
Common Man and T-Bone here for Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Bone, did you know the sportsbook is now called ESPN Bet?
I did, and you can watch your favorite teams on the biggest screens, place your bets, and grab some wings with an ice-cold pint.
Maybe you're too boring and don't want to go to the casino. Good news, you can keep the action going and place your bets on the go with the ESPN Bet app.
The ESPN Bet Sportsbook is your 50-yard line ticket to odds, point spreads, and over-unders.
It's the place to be. Losers must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Every 4 years, the world watches every corner kick, every save, every pass. The world watches its most beautiful game played at its highest level. And for a moment, the world stops turning for soccer. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026, supporting possibilities turned into achievements on the biggest stage. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. member FDIC.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
Thank you for calling Great Lakes. Great Lakes Kia.
Do you like scary movies?
Nah, they don't scare me.
What does scare you?
High car payments. They make me want to scream.
And at Great Lakes Kia?
We have brand new Kias under $5 a day. Come pick one out.
Maybe I'm already here.
Cool. Lease new 24 Kia Forte LXS, EV6 Wind, and Sorrento LX. All three under $5 a day.
That's only $139 a month for 24 months.
Plus new 24 Kia Telluride LX under $8 a day.
$249 for 24 months.
At Great Lakes Kia.
What if I have scary credit?
No problem. Get approved with 0% financing.
Perfect. And I'm right behind you.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Great cars, great people, Great Lakes Kia.
In Columbus, GreatLakesKia.com.
Can I hang up now?
To qualified buyers, visit GreatLakesKia.com for details.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Now back to Hollywood Casinos On the Money. On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
From ONN.
Welcome back to the feel-good edition of On the Money, and that's a reference from the 90s that I'm going to see if these guys get, and it's going to be a part of This or That. Ryan, let's do it. This or that.
Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come. This or that. This or that. This or that.
All right, this is a segment where you're either getting with this or you're getting with that. And guys, so my kids are 11 and 8, and I was talking to them about sports highlights and watching different things. They were watching some Dude Perfect videos yesterday, and so I was like,
Dude Perfect.
Yeah, so I was talking a little bit about Sports Center and how when I was 11 or around 8 years old, I was obsessed with Sports Center. Watched it every single morning. The Feel Good edition, by the way, is a Craig Kilborn reference.
I know Kilborn's your favorite.
From
I
back
loved
in
him
the day.
too.
Yeah.
Resourceful. He was great.
He's not my Vetus. He's not your Vetus. He's our Vetus. Our Vetus Sabonis. Yes.
That's right.
So I grew up absolutely loving Sports Center. I used to play like fantasy Sports Center where I would like match up different anchors together and be like, oh, I hope Linda Cohn and Larry Beal are doing this Sports Center. And, you know, it was just something I absolutely loved as a kid. My 11-year-old and 8-year-old don't even know what Sports Center is, because it's changed so much, right? And so my question to you guys is, are you getting with, you still watch Sports Center, or no, Sports Center is no longer part of your life?
I wouldn't say it's no longer part of my life, but it's taken like a 95% hit. Because like, for example, when I was in high school, when I was in college, the morning Sports Center, I would watch it and watch it again. And we would go to class at Ohio State, come back, eat lunch, watch the same thing 2 more times. It was great. And I'll catch it every once in a while for a few minutes. It's not like I've sworn off Sports Center, but it's no longer even close to appointment viewing. But I haven't sworn it off. I'll catch it every once in a while.
So it's funny,
but
guys.
I'm not getting with it overall.
Because I absolutely, again, was obsessed with it. And now I can't tell you the last time I watched a full Sports Center. Like, it has been forever. I'll catch it after a game, right? And I like Scott Van Pelt's show, his version of Sports Center. But, man, as far as watching a lot of Sports Center, it just doesn't happen for me at all anymore. Ryan, what about you?
So it's funny. I think the rise of like internet and social media has ruined Sports Center a little bit because you see the clips so fast in the highlights. And also ESPN's kind of gotten away with it. They don't run it like they used to. They do all their opinion shows and whatnot. I still, if I'm doing stuff in the morning or maybe mid-afternoon, I'll turn it on and have it on as background noise, kind of like a baseball game. You know, I'll put a baseball game on while I'm doing something else. But, yeah, I mean, it's not, oh, man, I got to watch Sports Center anymore.
I sense a theme. This was unintended. ESPN shows. All right. You guys getting with the Pat McAfee show or nah?
So I don't watch it a ton, but I do love Pat McAfee. Like, I think he's fantastic on Game Day. Game Day to me was dead about 3 years ago.
Don't talk about Game Day too much because that might be coming up later.
Okay, so it was a show that I grew up loving and kind of stopped watching, and then and it got stale to me. And then Pat McAfee came on, and I enjoy it a lot more than what I did in the past. So I am getting with Pat McAfee. I don't watch this show a ton, but I do love him.
And not just because A.J. Hawk's legendary jersey is right here. That's
right.
Not the reason I'm saying this, although it doesn't hurt. I'm getting with it. I'm with you. It's like I don't have a time to watch a lot of TV, but like if the McAfee show's on, I have nothing going on. I enjoy it. Yeah. I think he does a good job. I like A.J. Hawk on there. I like his supporting cast. I like what he's about, too. If anybody helps him out, he pays them. Now, does Aaron Rodgers need more money? No, but I just like what McAfee is about. I think the whole story is cool. I think he does a good job. And I'm getting with Pat McAfee's show, yes.
So I love Pat McAfee. I love him on Game Day, like you said, Scotty. I loved him when he was doing his wrestling stuff. I love him when he does hits on stuff.
There's a butt coming.
But I cannot get into the McAfee show. I've tried to get into it because I like him and I want to. I liken Pat McAfee to how I feel about Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell as a bit actor, but when he's the main character, I usually don't like it nearly as much.
Including Anchorman?
I do love Anchorman, but most of them, though, I don't.
Are you getting with Anchorman? Yeah,
Most of the leading Will Ferrell stuff I don't like, so I think Pat McAfee is Will Ferrell to me, and I'm not getting with the McAfee show.
You don't love Elf?
I've never seen it.
Blades of Glory?
No.
Elf is one of those movies where I'm like, it's probably not that funny. And then I watch it. It's incredibly funny.
Elf is fantastic.
Yes.
You got to watch Elf, right?
It's a bad
What's your this or that?
So I've got one here. I'm going to switch it over to food because I know we like food a lot of times. And I was thinking, because we were at the Hollywood Casino this past weekend, and we always talk about that big pretzel.
Oh,
and we love the pretzel, and it got me thinking of appetizers. So with appetizers, are you getting with mozzarella sticks, or are you getting with potato skins?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably potato skins. I like both, though. I'm definitely, if I was going to order the other, I'd be like, give me that one of the platters where you get both of those plus some wings. But like picking one or the other, I would lean potato skins, but it's close.
I don't think I've ordered potato skins since the Damon's was open in Mill Run. It has been that long.
How did that close? Like, Damon's was perfect.
I know. That's why I went for all my birthdays.
Like, I don't understand how that went out. How did that go out of business?
Oh, man. Gosh, that was every birthday. We are going to Damon's.
I have no idea how Damon's went out of business.
4 giant screens, the volume at your table. There was nothing better. But, Ryan, mozzarella sticks is the correct answer. I still love mozzarella sticks. Potato skins back in the Damon's days.
You're damn right it is. Fried cheese, you can't go wrong with that.
Fellas, I feel like we could have done more of this or that.
Let's do it.
Next on The Money.
This is Hollywood Casino's On the Money. On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
From ONN.
Finally, fall is here. The leaves are changing, the air is crisp, and the cooler temperatures are a welcome relief. But as those temperatures continue to drop, it's also a reminder that winter is just around the corner. We know it might feel a little early to start talking about freezing temperatures and snow, but now is the perfect time to make sure your roof is ready. Before the winter weather hits, wouldn't you like the peace of mind that your home is protected? If you're unsure about the condition of your roof or just want to be prepared for the months ahead, call the professionals you can trust at Newman Roofing. With over 30 years in business and 3 generations of Newmans in the roofing industry, we're dedicated to educating you about your roof so you understand exactly what's happening. We believe that an informed homeowner can make the very best decision for their needs. Give us at Newman Roofing a call today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit us online at newmanroofing.com. Let Newman Roofing help you prepare for winter the right way.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. If your fall is anything like the people in my neighborhood, your weekends are full of driving kids to endless soccer things. So if you're going to be on the road, be as comfortable as possible. 4 out of 5 doctors recommend a new Lexus. That's not true, but I recommend it. Deal time, 2.99% finance rate on a 2024 RX. That's madness. 4.49% finance rate for a 2025 NX. And you can get up to $5,000 lease cash for a 2024 RX. Check them out online, JermaineLexus.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fewer restrictions apply.
Check out this sale on red, green, or black seedless grapes. Right now, they're just 99 cents a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture expert technicians who are quick, but not rushed. When you hear the bell, breathe in and out. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today and find automotive peace. No appointment needed.
Busy schedule? This is Ryan Krieger, and Krieger Ford has you covered.
Krieger Ford offers pickup and delivery, or our mobile service van will come right to you. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today only at KriegerFord.com.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. You're listening to Hollywood Casinos On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
On ONN.
All right, more of this or that. All right, let's talk college football here, gents. Are you guys getting with, and this is this, that, or the other, you getting with a noon kick, you get with a 3:30 kick, or you getting with the primetime 7:30, 8 o'clock kick?
Dave, I had that written down as my this or that for this segment. That's unbelievable. We do not meet ahead of time and exchange this or that questions, and that was the exact one that I
That's
had.
insane.
That is. What were the odds?
Great minds, and us too.
What could people have put down money-wise that we would have the exact same question? To answer the question, I actually love 3:30 games. I think that is the sweet spot. The night games, I love if I'm going to it, right? You can tailgate all day, and that's a lot of fun.
If you don't have a show to host at 9 a.m. the next day.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But taking that out of it, I wouldn't mind like 2 night games a year, 2 noon games a year, and then the rest 3:30. That's what would make me very happy. But 3:30 is the sweet spot for me.
You nailed it. 3:30 is my ideal time for an Ohio State football game, Ryan Baker.
So 3:30 is definitely last on my list. Ooh. There's something I love about a noon kick. It goes out, you can get your day over with, and then you want to do something at night. You have a night. Plus, I love getting up at like 6 in the morning and start tailgating. I think that's so fun. But I feel like the energy of a night game just beats everything. And then you have your Saturday to do stuff if you want before the game. Then you can get ready and watch the game. So I think by a hair, I'm going to go the night game.
Okay, so since you stole my this or that question,
sorry,
I'm going to go back to the Sports Center theme.
You're calling it audible.
And it's not going to be this or that. This is going to be name for me your favorite Sports Center anchor of all time. And if you want, you can give maybe a top 2 or 3, but I need your top Sports Centers, man or woman, of all time.
Oh gosh, I don't want to steal yours. Kilborn's the first one that comes to mind. So I'll go with my fellow Dayton native Dan Patrick.
Okay, he's in my top 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dan Pugh. His real name, Dan Pugh. Yeah.
Is it really?
P-U-G-H.
Okay.
Yeah. His middle name's Patrick. Dan Patrick Pugh.
So funny story, real quick, because back in the day when I was in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you'd always have to do a book report, right? So there was this like untold story about Sports Center written by like Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann. And I read this book, and I didn't read a lot of books back in the day. Well, let's be honest, I still don't read a lot of books.
It's like the Seinfeld. I read books, Jerry. Books. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. So there was this Sports Center book that I used as my book report for like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way through. Same book, and the teachers never caught on.
I did that for a couple years too.
Oh, it's so great. It's so great. But my number 1 is Craig Kilborn, number 2, Kenny Mayne, number
Mayne's
3, Dan Patrick.
Oh, I forgot about Kenny Mayne's a good one. Nice call.
Voot, Kenny Mainski.
So when you first said this, I started thinking, and the first ones that popped into my head were Dan Patrick and Scott Van Pelt. I think both of those guys were great. But give me Charlie Steiner. Nobody had under the radar funny lines more than Charlie Steiner.
Follow me to freedom.
Follow me to freedom. All right, guys, I'm going to go to a college football question here, too. And this is 2 teams that are outside of the top 10 right now. Actually, I believe they're ranked right consecutive with each other in the poll. Better chance to win the national championship.
Ooh.
You getting with Notre Dame or you getting with Indiana?
Oh, my Hoosiers? Your Hoosiers.
My answer is no. No, I'm getting
it all.
I'm getting with neither one of them really have a chance. But Indiana's a great story, but now their quarterback's hurt. I don't think their defense would hold up Notre Dame's defense is really good, but their offensive line is in shambles because of injuries. I guess I would go Notre Dame because if those two are playing on a neutral field, I guess I would take Notre Dame in a close game. But it'd be close. Like, Indiana's legit. I really like Cignetti. I think Cignetti's a better coach than Freeman.
So I think I'm going to change your question around.
He's going to love this.
I'm going to say who has the better chance to win a college football playoff game, because neither one of these teams winning the national championship.
I mean, we say this, right? We say this, but there's a lot of things that happens in college football that we don't think is happening.
Winning a title.
No.
That doesn't happen. Ryan.
Or Notre Dame winning a title.
I know you've had a long
since
work
1988.
Ryan hosts the Buckeye show too, so he's
better chance.
He's fatigued.
He's fatigued.
It doesn't mean they're going to win. It's a better chance.
Oh gosh. Okay, so here's what I'll say: the team that has the better chance to win a game in the college football playoff is the Indiana Hoosiers.
So they have a better chance to win the national championship.
Sure.
I mean, right?
What are you saying?
I'm going Indiana as well. I think Rourke will be back. He's only going to miss this week, and I think they can beat Washington without him. I think Cignetti has proven he's a really good coach. I think they have a more dynamic offense. And listen, we talked about it. To win a national championship now, you have to have offense. I mean, you can get by without having the greatest defense if you just get a stop here or there. You have to have offense. I'll go Indiana.
Dave, better chance to win the national championship, the Ohio Bobcats or the Bowling Green Falcons? Sorry, Ryan.
I'm going Bobcats since my money is going to be going there starting next fall. All right, up next, I have one more of this or that you guys absolutely have to hear. And Scotty wants to make you guys some money with best bets. Up next on The Money.
More of Hollywood Casinos on the money. On the money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
Coming up on ONN.
Hey, folks, it's game day, and the betting's going to be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave, but a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right. You got to pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Did you and your family lose Ohio Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
30% of D1 athletes report betting-related threats and harassment after games. This threatens the safety and mental health of students like Jade.
I'm a college athlete, and I'm more than a bet. When you threaten my life and my family because you lost money, it really scares me.
These threats are not acceptable. Stop harassing college athletes over a bet. Learn more at morethanabet.org.
If a friend asks how you're doing, and you say,
I'm okay,
when the truth is,
I don't want my problems to burden anyone.
Or you say,
hang it in there.
Because
if I ask for help, they'll just think I'm weak.
Then this is your sign to call, text, or chat 988 for free, confidential support. Anytime. You don't have to hide how you feel.
Voting. It's more than just a right, it's a responsibility. November 5th is Ohio's general election, and we encourage you to make your voice heard. Ohio offers 3 convenient ways to vote: voting on Election Day, early in person, and absentee voting. No matter the method you choose, you can be confident that your vote is secure and your voice will be heard. Go to voteohio.gov to learn more. Sponsored by Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Get a recap of all the day's news from across the state.
ONN affiliate WBNS TV reports.
Haley Kirby reporting in downtown Toledo.
From the State House, Kevin Landers.
ONN Canton. ONN affiliate WKYC TV in Cleveland explains.
In Marietta, Brett Wharf, ONN News.
Emma Henderson in Genoa.
The ONN Daily Podcast. Listen at ONNradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts from the Ohio News Network. The Fan. Ohio sports destination. Now back to Hollywood Casinos On the Money.
Presented by Ohio for Responsible Gambling.
From ONN.
All right, I have one more this or that for you guys. All right. This is something I love doing in my youth and even into most of my adulthood. I won't give away how I feel about it now because I'm going to ask you guys. Are you guys getting with, you're going to a sporting event, and it's a game that's not sold out, okay? You getting with buying cheap seats and moving down to the expensive seats? Or are you not getting with that?
No, I'm not a huge fan of that. Like, I feel like you generally should sit in the tickets unless the ushers and people are sending you down, then I get it. But if you're just trying to sneak into those seats, not a big fan of it. I used to do Ohio State basketball is a good example where those early season games you kind of move down, but the ushers would tell you to move down to make it look a little more full. But no, generally I'm not moving.
Now I'm not getting with it. It used to be one of my favorite things in the world. Ryan, you're a Reds fan. You'll remember this. At Riverfront Stadium, then Synergy Field, they had the top 6 tickets. I remember exactly what they cost, $3.50. Go to a Reds game for $3.50, a top 6 Red seats. And then they would try not to get you to move down to the blue seats, but I used to have no shame in my game. Try to move down to the blue seats with my friends. If we got caught, we got caught. No big deal. Now I just don't like the shame of that. So I'm not getting with it now, but in my youth, I love doing that. Ryan.
Not only am I for it, I've done it multiple times. And if like say at a Blue Jackets game, if your seat is open the whole first period and I go down, I have no shame if you come up there because you should have been in your daggone seat. Reds games, there's 50,000 seats?
Exactly.
There's 5,000 people there. I'm going where I want. I don't care.
I like it. You know what? You guys have convinced me. I'm going to start moving down to better seats.
So when we go to a Reds game next spring, we'll get the cheap seats and move down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, Scotty, if you're at a basketball game and nobody's there the whole first half, I don't care if you come down and sit there. I mean, big deal.
You're right. And in fact,
Scotty got bougie on us, didn't he?
You should have been there supporting your team.
You're right. In fact, I have done it hundreds of times now that I think about it.
I used to be like my favorite hobby in the world.
Yeah. We used to go to the Big Ten tournament, and teams, wouldn't always be playing. Their fans, like the game of the team isn't actually playing at that point. So we would kind of go and sit in the seats of like the Illinois section because they were like either their game was done or their game was still to come. So yeah, I've done it plenty of times. You're right. I'm an idiot. You're right. You can move to whatever seat you want. Let me give you a few best bets for the weekend. And I don't understand how this piece of crap Michigan team is a favorite over Michigan State as much as they are. Because, by the way, the line has come down. Because initially when it came out on Sunday, when you and I were sitting here looking at college football lines for the next week, it was a 6-point favorite. Michigan was a 6-point favorite. Now that line is down to 3.5. And guys, I still think that's too high. I watched Michigan State play Iowa. I watched almost the entire game. Michigan State looked good, played really hard. I think this Michigan team is kind of quit. And so I think plus 3.5, Michigan State has that kind of chip on the shoulder. I think they'll go, and they're going to beat Michigan this weekend. So that's one. Another one I've got is Alabama is a 16.5-point favorite over Missouri. And I know Missouri has a couple injuries, but 16.5 for Alabama is too much. They're not playing well right now. I know they're at home. I take plus 16.5 with Missouri. Last one, I know Rourke is out for Indiana. Washington's not a good team. Indiana is talented across the board on offense. I think Indiana minus 6.5 against Washington is the play.
I like what you said about Michigan State because you look at it, they clearly have a coaching advantage. They did a good job hiring Jonathan Smith. I didn't realize till today they were paying him $7.5 million a year.
Whoa.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Sure.
I'm sure he had other suitors. He was happy at Oregon State, although with them leaving the Pac-12, was he really happy being at Oregon State? Probably not. They were paying Mel Tucker more than that. They were able to get out of that. They're happy about getting out of that. He's been a really good find. So I think State has the coaching advantage, and they clearly have the quarterback advantage.
Yes.
Whatever you want to say about Aiden Childs, everybody knows he's talented. He's been turnover prone. He's very talented, though.
Played great against Iowa.
Yeah, that kid is going to be a problem. And I think Michigan State's going to win that game. Now, maybe Michigan's defense will rise up. They still got studs on that defense with the Mason Graham. I don't know. Is Will Johnson? I think he might be out, though.
I'm not sure.
Mason Graham's one of those guys. I hope the Bengals draft him. There's no way he'll be around when the Bengals draft. That is our show for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. For Scotty Vegas and Ryan Baker, I am Dave Biddle. This has been On the Money.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Every 4 years, the world watches every corner kick, every save, every pass. The world watches its most beautiful game played at its highest level. And for a moment, the world stops turning for soccer. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026, supporting possibilities turned into achievements on the biggest stage. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. member FDIC.
The waterworks techs have heard it all. Screeching furnaces, dripping pipes, strangled garbage disposals, overflowing toilets. Did a spooky surprise catch you off guard? Who are you going to call?
No, not them. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222. We provide better care, better value, better results, and we'll take on any drain or heating and cooling nightmare to come your way. Happy Hallow Waterworks.
Scotty Vegas for Maxima Concrete. From a basic driveway replacement to a complex in-ground pool, patio, or outdoor kitchen installation, Maxima can do it all. Broom finish, stamped and colored, or exposed aggregate concrete, pavers, fire pits, seating walls, even lighting. Maxima is all in-house. Never any subs, so hire the guys that will actually perform the work. Mention this ad for $250 off your next project. Still plenty of time left this season, so get a free estimate today by visiting MaximaConcrete.com.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. If your fall is anything like the people in my neighborhood, your weekends are full of driving kids to endless soccer things. So if you're going to be on the road, be as comfortable as possible. 4 out of 5 doctors recommend a new Lexus. That's not true, but I recommend it. Deal time, 2.99% finance rate on a 2024 RX. That's madness. 4.49% finance rate for a 2025 NX. And you can get up to $5,000 lease cash for a 2024 RX. Check them out online.